Just before we start this video on dinos, just to give you an idea of what's going on in my tank. It's a 180 gallon main display with a 3-foot sump, which gives you about 960 litres of water in total once you take into account the water displacement of the rock. Stocking wise, I've got my chalk goby, my lawnmower blenny, there's a couple of tangs, blue tang and an orange shoulder tang, carpenter wrasse, some chromis, royal grammar, there's an anthea up there, pair of clowns, and there are somewhere in there 2 yellow striped cardinals as well. So it's not a heavily stocked tank by any stretch. They're all fairly young fish, as you can see, not massive. Coral wise, I have got a couple of leathers, an acan, some mushrooms, blasto, some zoas, which are currently sulking because I've just dosed the tank with hydrogen peroxide. They will open up again though, they just don't like it when you've first done it. Another blasto, and there's some more zoas up there, a couple up there, and there's some tucked in a hole just up there. Oh, and my torch, obviously. Cleanup crew wise, I've got snails of various types, hermit crabs varying in size and type. There's a conch snail in there somewhere as well. In the sump there is GFO, carbon, chaeto, and loads of ceramic media to make up for the fact that I am using ocean rock rather than live rock in my display. The tank has been running since January. We are now in May. So generally things seem to be going really well. Everyone seems happy in the tank, no casualties. And all the corals are growing. I mean, I've got in my acan there, you can see it's got a new heads. There's actually 4 new heads developing on that. So things are growing, and I'm overall I'm happy with how the tank is running, other than the dinos, which we will get into now. Okay, so this is going to be a video about dinos. Anyone who's got dinos or has experienced dinos in the past will know that in the mornings, when you first turn your lights on, it's actually not too bad, and as the day progresses, the dinos get worse and you end up with this brown snotty substance all over your tank. Now I've been battling dinos now for the best part of 12 weeks. My lights have just come on the whites. The blues were turned on at 7 and then they ramp up slowly. The whites come on at 10. And I have just been, as I say, it's been an endless battle with dinos basically. I've tried the blackouts. I have tried running my tank dirty. I've tried blowing the dinos off and then trying to siphon them out. And unfortunately nothing has worked. Now as you can see, the tank actually doesn't appear to have any dinos present this morning. I know my problem areas are up there, in behind there, just behind where that yellow cardinal is, and the worst of it is at the side of my tank, just in there normally. So because the lights have just come on, obviously it's not too bad, but I know it will get worse through the day. I do also get a little bit up on those rocks there. Now, I had been reading up on dinos and somebody had suggested using hydrogen peroxide 3% to get rid of them. Now I've also tried running my lights low, so they've actually only been running at about 30% capacity. up until recently, as in 3 days ago, and now they are running back at full thanks to hydrogen peroxide. So what I've been using is this stuff here. I got it off of eBay for sort of 4 or 5 quid, something like that. So it's not break the bank. I've been dosing the tank with 25 ml a day of it, which is quite a high dosage. But as you can see, the few little coral frags that I have got are absolutely fine. Nothing seems to be too sulky. After I initially put the peroxide in, the zoas do tend to close up, but as you can see they open up again just fine. I have got a little bit of turf algae as well, but that doesn't bother me because the tangs seem to enjoy munching on it and it's not overrunning my tank at the moment, so I'm just leaving that alone. My main focus at the moment is the dinos. So far I'm 3 days into dosing 25 ml a day with this hydrogen peroxide, and the difference in the tank is amazing. The really bad area back there was absolutely riddled with it. You can still see some remnants of it there, but in general, I mean, it's just incredible. I never dreamt it was going to work that quickly without any negative effects. I mean, I've always been one, since day one, I've not wanted to put any kind of chemicals in my tank, but I was at my wit's end with this dino outbreak. You just see a little bit of it down there as well. At the moment, no bubbles or anything. As I say, my lights have just come on, so it's not going to be too bad yet. I'll pause this video and come back to it later on tonight so that you can see the difference between morning and night. As I say, at the moment I'm really pleased with it because it's just the change has just been so dramatic. So hopefully I seem to be beating it at last. Basically everything else that I've tried, it works temporarily. You know, you turn your lights off, you can just spotted a bubble in there, just waving around up there. Everything else seems to be fine, but nothing else has worked basically. As I say, I've done the blackouts, I've turned the lights down, run them on just blues, and it's just a band-aid. As soon as you go back to running normally, the dinos come back basically. So yeah, I'm going to pause this now and show you the difference later tonight, but for anyone who is battling dinos, I would suggest give the hydrogen peroxide a chance. As you can see, I don't have a tank full of SPS, so I'm not saying if you've got ridiculously expensive corals then you should be doing this, but with the small number of frags that I've got at the moment, to me it was worth the risk to just try and beat these dinos. But at the moment everything seems to be hunky-dory with the tank, so yeah, I will catch up in a while. Okay, so we are at lunchtime on the same day. The lights have been on full now for about 3-4 hours, and the little bits of dino are starting to appear. So you've got all those bubbles in there, and there's some on the corner of that rock there. If I can get it to focus, which typically it won't. You can maybe just about see them there. But the main problem area behind where that pump is facing is looking pretty good still. There's not a lot there. One thing to mention about the pump, I know it needs cleaning, but because I've been trying to run the dirty tank and I want the other algae to compete with the dinos, I've let it grow. But now that this appears to be working, I will be cleaning all of that gunk off of the pump. Speaking of which, you can see some little bubbles appearing on there as well for Dino, and also on the power lead going in. You can just about see it. See the bubbles on the end of it. One thing to note with using hydrogen peroxide is that it doesn't just kill bad bacteria, it kills good bacteria too. So the reason I am seeing diatoms, I'm assuming, which is the brown dusty stuff on some of the rock, is because it's going through a mini cycle again, because the hydrogen peroxide is killing some of the good bacteria in my tank. I am monitoring, see that's quite dusty there, I am monitoring all my levels, and so far nothing horrendous showing up. So I've got 0 ammonia, 0 nitrite, and nitrates are at about 10 parts per million. Calcium, magnesium, pH, alkalinity, it's all sitting fairly stable. There's nothing that I'm worried about, and I would rather see diatoms than I would that horrible snotty stuff. So just as a zoom in on the same places that were shown in the video earlier of the particularly bad spots, you can see there that there's not really anything to worry about there, and the other place was in there, snail in the way, but you can see it's a massive improvement in just 3 days. So, and that's without me blowing the rocks off to clean it. So yeah, it's definitely working. The plan is to keep this up for probably another 2 weeks, but after about a week I'm going to be reducing the dosage to about half because I don't want to do any damage to anything. So I'm just going to keep it up for sort of a week, 10 days, up to sort of 2 weeks really, with the keep it going, and we'll just see. So I'll post another video in a couple of weeks, and hopefully there will not be a single snotty bubble in sight. Yeah, so I hope this helps at least one person, and I will keep you posted.